Hello, guys, and welcome to Behind the Bunker. It is Saturday night. We're all locked at home, and we've got some shenanigans afoot. Josh, you and I just realized we're wearing the same hoodie.
One of us is going to have to change.
It's okay. I'm not going to change, so I'll just slouch. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are here having a live quarantine show. I have my friend Josh Zuby-Zaburkis. As you know, he is to my left,
yes,
right on screen.
Yes, and I like being on screen like this because we can't talk moistly at each other.
Moistly.
Did you see that meme going around of the Prime Minister singing that? I'll have
he says it. He says it in like his address from his front door. He says people wearing masks to prevent each other from speaking moistly, and then someone turned it into a remix.
Yeah.
But the best part about it was the lady who's over in the corner doing the ALS sign language. She actually pauses and has this freaked out look on her face, like, "How do you sign moistly?"
Moistly.
I missed my sound machine. I got to get that going up. I would have had my
Miami sound machine.
We need the sound effects.
And we have Matt Critt pushing no buttons tonight in the top left corner of your screen.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Matt was pushing all the buttons before the show started.
Yeah, that's okay.
Stand.
B will be pushing his buttons as she normally does halfway through the show anyways.
The camera, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Below Matt, we have Joe Kimson in the lower corner.
Greetings and thanks for tuning in tonight. Megan's going to scoot by. I'm plugged in. I can't. That's the cat.
Megan's rather hairy.
This is Juan Carlos Kitty Kimpson. Hello. Very thrilled. He's quite good on television.
Hold him the entire time.
No way. This is more than I touch him on a good day. I have to put him into the basement or else he'll get on things.
Joe's trying to get a Netflix special, him and his cat. Yeah.
Funny comedy.
And then we have Gavin Sharma on the bottom right corner.
Yeah, I'm still here, folks. I don't have a cat, but I'm just as delightful. And I want to remind everybody who's watching this evening, make sure you hit like and share. It is a special program with a full family who's joining us to talk a little bit about paintball and talk a little bit about what's going on in the world. So thank you so much for joining this evening, and make sure you hit like and share so everybody else knows what's going on.
Very good. And then all the way from Montana,
USA.
Actually, that's pretty close to Canada, so it's almost Canada. That's right.
And Diane and Phoebe.
So how crazy is your household? Are you guys bored?
It's pretty crazy, right? How would you describe it, Beatrice?
I think it's fun because, like, if we get bored, we can play down the stairs or play some video games or go outside.
I'll go fishing.
Or fishing. So you guys are on Montana. Are you on a stretch of property, or are you in an apartment high-rise?
No,
Yeah, we live on 11 acres, and so
That's
it's been... Yeah, just that's all.
Yeah, so it's just a
Just
small,
enough to be able to
big
do
place.
some laps with the four-wheelers.
So
Do you have a
Thankful
river,
that
or
we
are
can
you
go
stuck with a
outside.
little creek?
We do have a little creek.
now, when you move from one end of your property to the other, do you walk or do you mosey on over?
We mosey.
Mosey,
on.
okay.
How big
Right.
is Mike's belt buckle?
Do you have? He doesn't really have one.
Yeah, no, don't wear one.
Really? Are you,
We had
maybe
to wear one
Yeah.
for the cowboy thing with the two girls, but besides that,
His pants have elastic in the waistband.
It's like, how do you keep your pants up?
I know. Hey, they just stay up, man. You just buy the right size.
Okay.
see Gavin
That's
has
another
a
joke.
Somebody's been watching Letterkenny.
Gavin's got a belt so big that he's got a little ring, and he takes the ring out of his belt buckle, puts it on his finger, and points it at the sky. And what do you yell, Gavin?
Hercules. What is it? No,
Herc.
whatever. I can't remember.
Yeah, Olympia or something like that.
Something like that. We just derailed the show in about 30 seconds. It's a new record for us. That's great, guys.
It's a good one. Thank you.
So have you guys?
This is about paintball, isn't it?
It is paintball, but you know what?
paintball.
There is very little paintball going on in the world right now. There is, however, an awesome documentary that's coming out next, not Monday as in 2 days from now, but the following week on Monday. Yeah, make sure you guys get... actually, you know what? I'll do a quick plug for that. So tonight we have Mike Paxson and B. Young / Paxson / depending on when you ask her. And then we have tomorrow night, we have... Oh, sorry, Saturday night. No, sorry, Monday. We have Command Bros.
Day is it quarantine time?
I know. I don't even know what day it is. But we've got the Command Bros on Monday night. And then next week, Saturday, we're going to have John Omoda all the way from Paintball Media to talk about his documentary that will be released in two days after that. And on the Monday of the release, we're all going to sit down and watch it. And on Monday night, we're going to do a debrief with Simon Stevens live on air to talk to you guys about the documentary. So make sure you guys get your tickets and watch it on Monday.
Get it.
Yeah. Mike, you've been around paintball for a couple of months. Do you think you're going to hit the documentary?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. B was talking about getting it, so for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Looking at it and see what's up. Yeah.
How long have you played?
I was pro for 20 years.
That's it, eh?
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
And what have you done for us lately? I guess you've been playing 10-man.
Yep, been playing 10-man, and then we went down to Vegas. I coached a team, CEP, and then I played mechanical on Destiny, so it was fun.
Very good.
Finally, got him on the roster.
Nice.
What did you shoot?
A lot of fun. So.
Yeah, what did you shoot for a marker?
Oh, I shoot a FSL, Danny Love's autococker. And then I shoot the Clips gun, that mechanical gun that they have. It shoots good too.
So here's the question: autococker or automag?
I've always shot an autococker.
There you go. I only asked that because I know you'd answer on my side.
Yeah.
On that note, let's ask B more questions.
But I actually do have a question for B. It's been a while since we've seen you from Extravaganza. My question to you is, do you miss Gus's fried chicken?
I do miss Gus's fried. That was so delicious. We'll be there again soon, you guys. Don't worry.
Okay.
In Memphis?
I don't think
going to Memphis again.
I don't think we're going to go
I
back.
don't think it'll be in Memphis again.
No.
Okay, so you haven't heard anything, or at least you can't release anything about where the next PBE will be.
Yeah, Rick Chard, I talked to him a little bit, and I think we've already kind of come to the conclusion that we're not going to go back to Memphis. So it'll be a new location, so that's exciting. Give us something.
A different state?
To. Different scene, yeah.
Okay. East or west?
Maybe in the middle. I don't know.
Oh, north or south?
Yeah, I know. I've been telling him south, but whether he, listens to my suggestion, it's totally up to the whole committee for, to be honest.
Vegas would be fun, but I think Vegas would be too busy. I think we'd all just leave.
Yeah. Yeah, because we'll find other things to do too.
Yeah. The nice thing about Memphis and where it was last year, there was nothing really around it. So you kind of were, and I'm going to use the word stuck poorly, but we were stuck at the hotel. But that's a good thing because we're all down there for one reason. It's nice to see everybody while they're down there. So it was kind of nice not to have to go anywhere.
Yeah, you're right. It's nice to just have all the paintball people all in one little metroplex of our own.
Yeah.
Rick Chard says not in Memphis, Hodunk, Michigan. Thanks, Rick. Hodunk's nice in February.
The other option that you guys could talk about, it's not that far from us. We could probably give you guys a hookup, but the Sky Dome would be a good place.
Oh, we got to call
Sky Dome
Jay.
was so fun.
So fun. We got to call Jay Muncaster and see if he can make that happen.
Chop.
There's a will, there's a way.
Yeah,
So, Mike, you actually played Skydome, is that correct?
I played 2 years, and then I had a ref at the other 2 years. So reffing sucked there. It was horrible.
And this is going back, and it may come out in the documentary. But what was your experience like there?
I loved it. It was awesome. My very first year we went, we took second, had a great time. We literally ran from the plane to the shuttle bus into the Sky Dome because we didn't wear enough clothes. We didn't realize, there was going to be 4 feet of snow everywhere. And then, so it was fun. And then the next year we were a little more prepared for that. But then, reffing, we never left that place. It was, by the time you were done reffing and all this stuff, you'd sleep for a few hours because the other ref crew didn't show up in time. And then you would continue, go right back, sleep for a few hours, and then continue reffing again.
Yeah, you can't blame the sun going down for anything either.
So this is for the Paxson family. You know what? Sky Dome was a historic event, or historic events plural. Great venue. So what are some of your highlights, or what are some of your top venues or events that you guys have played?
I'm trying to think. There's been a whole bunch.
NPPL days were the best, I think, with Huntington Beach.
Yeah, Huntington
and then
Beach
going
cool.
to like Denver. Remember when they were at the football stadium there? I mean, it was in the parking lot, but it was still cool to say you played at the Denver Broncos next door to the stadium thing,
Well, there was an NPPL in the Buffalo Bills parking lot. Because I remember playing it, and you can see the stadium. You can almost hit the stadium with the paintballs, but they wouldn't dare let us go anywhere near it, of course. So, but it was there. You can.
I always liked San Diego. It's just the weather was always beautiful every time we went there.
Even when it rained, I love San Diego. Even when it rains.
That's a song. That's a song, isn't it?
It is.
San Diego, even when it rains.
I like it. Your voice is beautiful.
It is now.
My cat just ran out of the room.
Whatever.
Just
I liked IAO because there were so many different events you could play in one sitting. For a whole week you were playing paintball. You played 3-man, 5-man, 10-man. X-ball, it was fun.
Joe and I have good memories of IAO because we'd be down at the bar and we'd be hobnobbing, and you've got, Bud Orr and Tom Kay and really all of the original founding fathers of paintball there. And it was such a smaller community back then, and everybody fit into like a 50-person bar. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. I remember those.
Yeah, I remember us overhearing a conversation. I think Tom Kay was talking about finally squashing the Automag, and
just making a cocker.
Yeah.
And I do have to interrupt the program for just briefly, folks, so bear with me. Screw you, Greg Beck. I always have good questions for this damn show. And if you don't like it, you can sign off.
Yeah, Greg Beck.
We got Jay Muncaster watching right now, Mr. and Mrs. Paxton.
Yay! Get Skyball back, please, buddy. Yeah. We love you and miss you. But yes.
No, thank you.
We could do an annual event there again. Make it happen, Jay. If anybody can do it, you can.
Hey, I have a quick question from Dave Brooke Reed. He's over in the UK. He says, I didn't actually print off the right one. But basically, he was asking, when are you guys coming over to Europe? Do you have any plans on playing any events in Europe or the UK?
I want to come.
My favorite event was Sweden there. But besides that, I don't really like going.
We'll figure it out, Dave.
Yeah, why was what was about Sweden?
Sweden was just beautiful. It was awesome. It was just a nice place. I think it was also the only place that we went for like 2 days on either side of the event. So we had 2 days to go see stuff. All the rest of the events, so it was just like we just flew in and then flew right back out. So never really got to see much. Never really got to go do anything. But Sweden was always nice, and everybody was real nice over there too. So it was cool.
Mike was able to rent a Volvo and then go to IKEA, so he really dug Sweden. And they had Swedish meatballs, scrambled eggs and Swedish meatballs for breakfast.
Was it a Volvo or did you get a Skoda?
Yeah, no, I don't know. We got some box thing that carried as many people in gear bags as we could fit into it and go.
Volvos are boxy but good.
I'm sure whatever it was practical. So.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah, I Europe, I guess, has changed too now. I know you're not playing at the pro level in NXL, but they're not allowing pros or American pros in the European division now. What do you think of that?
Oh, it's kind of, I guess, like they used to do with the Olympics here, where they wouldn't let pro basketballers play. I guess it's kind of the same thing.
I do like that, because then all the teams that work hard over there, they got to develop their own system and ranking and get themselves up there. And then when they're finally at the top of the game, then maybe they come over and compete with you guys or the NXL rather, but I think they're almost a little behind.
But I would challenge. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I remember when we first used to go over there was no one over there that really played a lot, or they didn't have any pros that used to come over. So I mean, we used to go over there and just have a field day. It was awesome. But but I think with having the pros go over there, it actually helps them get better. But I don't know. It just depends. At least their pro bracket will help get better. But
we had a tournament series in our neck of the woods a few years ago, and they started allowing professional paintball players coming up, and it helped when maybe one professional player came on a team, because then they could kind of motivate. But you can already see the one difference, because the knowledge that they brought. Then they opened it up, and we had full pro teams coming up. They had 5 or 6 guys on a roster with maybe 2 or 3 other local guys, and it was like, what's the point? It just it didn't make it fun. No one wanted to go up a level. Everyone started sandbagging. So I get why NXL Europe is doing that. I agree to that. But at some point, they'll have after a number of years of this, I'm sure it'll all mesh up.
But just a challenge. I mean, it puts butts in the seats, right? I mean, versus random dudes who play, or the pro players they've been reading about and following on the internet, and you know what? People come out to see that. So, I mean, from a player point of view, it's either your step up or you're going to be regulated down to the next level. Yeah. But from a spectator point of view, you want to come out and see your heroes, right? So it's from a business point of view, I understand why you'd want to stack a team and with pros, because it puts people in the seats.
Yeah, but unfortunately, these tournament promoters like CXBL and XL, none of them make money from ticket sales. It's all from the players, unfortunately, at this point. So you kind of have to make the players happy. I feel.
Yeah, well, you look at like the CXBL where they went and kind of like Impact kind of ruined that because they would go and just beat down all the teams, and unless you brought up other pros to play against them, it wasn't even a contest up there.
Yeah.
And so then they stopped putting in their team, but then it still went away. So what's the what was it? Didn't really make a difference, or was it already too far gone by that time, or was it just too expensive to play?
We arguably put the best team in not North America, but in southwestern Ontario together at that time, and we played Impact, and I mean, they just batted us around like a cat had a new toy. And I mean, you could say it was a learning experience, but it was pretty bad. And
also that was 15 balls a second, right? So a lot of teams couldn't afford to continue to either practice or play, right? So it became a wallet winner type industry, which wasn't great for the growth. So
Josh is going to join us shortly. He's just waiting for his TV feed to boot up there, and then he'll be back on there.
Where did he go? Is he okay?
Bedtime, probably.
I heard a fall, a crash, and call 911, and that's where he stopped. So I until I hear further instructions, I'm going to just leave him be.
Okay.
Yeah. So lots of people in the live chat, guys. We're going to start watching your comments. If there's any questions, by all means, put it up there. Eric Parks is asking, is there any truth to a new team with Ollie Lang? And Greg Beck follows up by saying, maybe the Behind the Bunkerinos.
Tell us about that, Mike.
Oh, the one? Yeah, Bear's trying to put something together. I don't know. We're going to see how that all develops, Ollie was talking about coming back. We'll see.
Yeah, but Ollie would probably be pretty crummy right now. Wouldn't you think? He was never really good.
I think at his worst day, he could probably play better than 80% of the pros out there still.
Yeah.
And now that he's on his vision quest, I mean, he's a much more balanced player.
He's way more focused now.
Jeez, that's funny. Yeah. Maybe you guys can call it Team Peyote.
Yeah, right. Team fun.
But we did talk about like how easy is it now versus then to be a pro player? I mean, what do you think, Pax?
Well, I just think there's more teams in there now so that you can go jump on a lower ranked team and play. But, the thing about when we had old X-Ball was you'd have a 15-man roster. And you'd have 5 guys on the team that never even saw the field.
Yeah.
They were just like a practice squad. But that helped. I mean, you look at some of the pros that are playing today, they were on those squads.
Yeah.
So I think back then we developed more players. But nowadays, I mean, shoot, you get to play the layouts 100 times before you even go step on the field. So, you should be a robot enough by the time you get there to do well. So it doesn't really matter.
But like we talked about, like we talked about professional players playing in lower division teams to help them. I think with the knowledge that these guys have, if you start absorbing it, playing with them, even though you're not getting on game points, even just practicing with them, it doesn't take long for you to start picking those things up. And then when you get on the field, you're going to be farther ahead, helping these guys and getting on the field eventually than you would playing on a different team, I feel. Yeah, I don't know. So who else is on this potential mystery team? Chris Lasoya?
Chris Lasoya. We got
there you
Max
go.
Lundqvist. I'm trying to bring back Pete Uchik.
Yeah.
Nico Hootenin. I mean, we got a big cast star roster.
Yeah.
That's what we could do at Skyball.
Yeah.
Let's kind of debut this team and just plan an annual basis.
Well, we've met Lundqvist before, and he has to be the happiest.
He's dreamy.
He is dreamy, but he's also very jovial. Like, he's very friendly and happy. I've never come across him where he wasn't smiling. And
if B was a man.
Mm-hmm. Yep, there it is.
Oh, okay. That's a separate thought, right?
Well,
what if Mike and B did a face swap? Would that be what you're looking
Lord,
for?
Can you do it right now?
No, we're good.
Zoom, work on that, Zoom.
So going back to paintball a little bit. So Paxson B, you guys have been around the sport for quite a while. Are you a fan of the blind layout or released and practice type layout?
Well, that's easy. I mean, all older players are way more a fan of the blind layouts. Everybody that doesn't, play paintball good always wants to lay out early. It's just how it is. The older players always want no layout because we're more creative and we can work on the field easier than all the players today. They were going to do blind layouts for a while, and the Russians wouldn't do it, and they wouldn't come play, so they didn't do it. That's why it started.
It's the Russians, huh?
Always
the
Russians.
Started a price war with the Arabs.
Because that's not a brand new skill set, but it's a skill set you have to develop, right? And it really works on sort of the team aspect. So why don't you think there's more leagues going with the whole blind layout?
It's just because teams now, they like to practice. They like to practice the layout. They feel if they practice a layout well and play a layout well, then they'll go to the tournament. It's just.
I think there's a lot of people like to be on a team and they enjoy the camaraderie. So having the layout in advance allows these guys to be part of something too, right?
Well, and also too, I think it hurts our sport more because realistically, if you look at it from a team aspect, you have to play the 2 weekends before an event and the event. So you're going to spend probably $8,000 in that if you're a high level team, at least going to spend $8,000 in that 3 week span. And then nothing until the next tournament. Realistically, back in the day when we used to play, we'd play every other weekend and then take the weekend off right before the event and get there and go and be all fresh, and then spend forever walking fields and doing stuff. But fields right now, I mean, pretty much how a field works is they have to set up that field layout 2 weekends before the event. Everyone races there to play. As soon as the event's over, there's no one there to play. Then you set up fun layouts. And people will come out and play, but pretty much you just get that swamp of people, and then the people that aren't on teams, they can't get on the fields those 3 weekends or those 2 weekends. So I think if anything, it's just hurting our sport more. But
and there's something to be said for going to the field on the game day with your team, walking the field, and figuring out those shots real quick, and then the first 2 or 3 points, your team is talking to each other going, hey, I just found this, or that doesn't work because of this. Like, it's far more of an adapt and overcome, and it's more fun than having that layout studied and waking up in the morning of the tournament and already knowing not only what your job is, but what bunkers are called and what everything is. Like, there was a fun time when that was an exciting thing to do, and you'd get to the tournament early and everybody would be on the field, and everybody's kind of whispering around each other, like, I saw this, come on, check it out, like.
Well, at the same time, there was sideline coaching?
Yeah. Well, no, on 7-man and 10-man, there was no sideline coaching. We had 8-10 different fields sometimes,
Wow.
And it was so great too, because I used to love, like, teams would be like, they just beat us on a field, and they'd be like, blah, 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 talking, and you'd be like, oh, wait, in finals, JT Field's going to be our finals field. Wait, we're going to stomp people out over there, so don't worry about it. And it's like.
But remember the time too where you as a team, after your first point of the day, would go sit back and watch the other teams. There's no scouting anymore because they don't need to. They already know the layout, and there's no one on the sidelines now. I used to like sitting with the team, having conversations, watching the players that you're going to be shooting against, and yeah.
And now we do scout them, but it's just like the probability of where they're going to go. 80% they're always going to this Dorito 1, 80% they're going to the snake corner. You're giving a better odds for the guy to shoot on the break, but that's all it really is. The other times we would really literally scout every move they're making back in the day. Yeah. But now it's like, you're just kind of giving the probability of where they're going, and then they change their whole game plan. So it's, it's kind of weird. That's probably the only thing I liked about it. I mean, I used to love old X-ball. I mean, where you had 2 10-minute halves, or even if you went back further and there was the 4 quarters of 10 minutes, that was awesome. But, paintball can't afford that. People can't afford that.
No, that's an awful lot of paint in the air at any given time. Do you think that 10.5 should even drop?
No. I mean, if you're going to do that, you might as well go mechanical, But, I think I used to love the fast guns, but I was a back player. So,
yeah.
But
that brings up another thing. Remember back before ramping, you had electronic triggers, and even before Tadeo and all these companies came out with ramping, do you remember the guys that could get their fingers going the fastest were deemed the back players? Yep. Right? And people would be sitting, I know I had kids on my team, and they'd sit at home and they'd practice their fingers, and it was we had a guy that had Tourette's of the fingers, we called him, and he could do like 17 balls a second consistently, and we had no idea how he could do that.
Then he'd twitch and swear, right?
Yeah. Well, it was funny too. We'd set up our guns, and people would, they would have us come over and set their guns up because we'd set them up so well to shoot that.
Yeah.
The other thing too is it's just like, I remember in old X-ball, I shot less paint than I did just right when I quit, because it's so slow. You're shooting lanes, and everything's more like a lockdown game because you can't lose points.
Yeah.
Before, we'd carry 5 pods a person, and you would shoot and you'd lose. Oh, well, let's try something else. And because you had more time and more points to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Now you can't make any mistakes.
Here's a trivia question for you, since you've been around the sport for a while. Why would a referee grab your gun and bump the bottom of your tank with his hands a couple of times before you walk onto the field?
Because of me.
Trying to make the trigger bounce. Yeah. It's another one that was crazy to me was we were playing in the mechanical. I run by a guy, shoot him dead center in the shoulder blades, whap, whap, right in the back. Never even knew I was coming. I come up to start shooting the rest of his team. He spins and shoots me, right? They pull me out. I'm like, what are you crazy? I'm like, you saw it. They go, yeah, but you have to come out because you got paint on you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, wait a minute. I just shot that guy. He never knew I was coming, but he saved the game. Even though they went and pulled a 2-for-1, they still won the game because the one guy ran down the Dorito side, I ran down the snake side.
Yeah.
They still won the game, and the guy goes, so you just made a horrible player out of a great player.
Yeah.
Or made a horrible player into a great player because I was just about to kill everyone, and you pull me out. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Referees, back when that was happening, they couldn't communicate fast enough, and there was not enough of them on the field. It was always a melee, and that's why good players could open up the game by just doing something foolish and getting away with it, or foolish like that and actually causing problem.
That's when the referee squads developed the Navy foot signals, so they could signal and communicate much quicker than they did.
Yeah.
So I remember refereeing, and we had FRS radios, but clearly they were not secure, and so people would learn that from event to event, and all of a sudden people would hack our channel, right? Yeah. And then start and you hear these voices to pull somebody. You're pulling somebody for no paint on them.
Yeah.
And then the melee that happens after that, right? So anyway, it wasn't a perfect system, but you know what? It was crazy times in the sport of paintball.
Yeah. I remember Deborah Dion asking me to ref, and I told her, I said, no, I don't really, I don't want to. I don't. She goes, I really need you. And I said, can I ref from sitting on the cooler, and I'll just have the walkie-talkie and tell everybody when they go pull them out? She goes, 100%. I said, okay, cool. So I literally sat on the 50-yard line.
Now there's a good tournament promoter.
That guy's hit. He's hit. I'm guaranteeing he's hitting the loader. Oh yeah, he's hitting the loader, and they pull him out.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's funny, as a good referee, you could, we see these referees all the time. There are good ones and bad ones, but some of the good ones, they can audibly hear a paint hit, and they can already know where it is. You can hear a ting of a hopper or a tank rather, and it's like, I love the refs that don't take any bull. They walk in, they go, no, dude, like, it's all over. You just get off the field. Like, don't even try, right? And, and it's so great because that when a guy gets shot, it's like, there's no way. Like, where am I hit? Yeah.
I know. Well, and it's so weird too. Like I remember too where a ref came in. He's like, "You're hit," and I'm like, "Okay, where? Just show me where." And he's like, "I don't know, but I know you're hit." And I'm like, "Well, wait a minute. I don't think I'm hit. Where am I hit?" Get off the field player. And I've had it happen so many different times, and you're like, man, it's so easy too because all they have to do is go, "Oh, you're hit right there." You're hit anywhere.
That's
and
right.
Literally ask the ref, I'm like, "Can you just show me where I'm hit?" And he's like, "I know you're hit." I'm like, okay.
Or you can play Ron Kilborn style and not leave the field until a ref has to legitimately pull you off the field.
Pull you down. Oh, God. It used to be so funny to watch him do that.
But he was really good at refing, too.
Oh, yeah. No, he was a good ref, yeah.
And then Toby Joe from North Carolina. Hi, Toby. Line of Fire Paintball. He asked about Ultimate Madness. What about refing that?
That was horrible. That was a horrible ref, too. I literally held two shields on both sides of my face, and you were stuck in the side of the net because the net would come up like this and the thing. So you had your back like this, shields like this, flag was sitting in front of me, and the shield was going.
Yeah. People have no idea. Like, they see Go Sports and the portrayal of NXL paintball on TV all the time, right? And they see the pristine fields, the brand new bunkers every event. Yeah. I remember going to a tournament and there being a tree on one side of the field, and it blocked one of our lanes. I remember the very first tournament I played was an indoor tournament. It had sup air bunkers with little battery packs inside, but in the two opposite corners there was still 2-story buildings.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it was the weirdest. I mean, we've gone through some terrible stuff. People have no idea how great it is, and I mean, most of our local fields, they strive to grid their field properly and try to maintain it. I mean, it's a whole other level than what it used to be years ago. I mean, Joe, when he first built the speedball field we had, we used electrical spools because that's all we had, right?
And we had big tires and truck tires and spools on their side, and that was your speedball. That was your speedball field, really.
Yeah.
One of the first speedball fields I ever played on, the guy stacked hay bales everywhere and different tees and different stuff, and that was, I mean, we blew that thing to bits. And once it got wet, it kind of stayed good, but I mean, I remember we just knock them over, they'd break, we put a new one on.
Skyball, didn't they wrap inner tubes together?
Yeah.
They did because the bunker system that they had, a now defunct Big Ones of America or Big Air of America, they all started leaking at that event. And so it was an emergency. We're going to go out and find some tubes and wrap them together. So good for them for getting the event, keeping it going. But hopefully that makes it into the documentary because that was pretty exciting to see.
That was crazy because they were all just deflating as the field started.
For all of you that may find this at all amusing, you have to watch, even if you don't, you have to watch this documentary that's coming out, not Monday, Easter Monday, but the following Monday. Go look through your social media feeds. If you can't find it, send us a message to Behind the Bunker on Facebook, and we'll get you the link. But you got to watch it. It comes out, it premieres the following Monday, and it starts at noon, and it'll go, I'm not sure, Gavin, does it go all day, or does it go inevitably after that, I guess?
Thank you for asking me, Todd. I have no idea.
Okay, sorry, I thought
It's 2 hours it's 2 hours and 50 minutes, and there'll be a link. There'll be a link that you can, a shareable link that you can get. It should be available shortly.
So see, Gavin, you should be more like Joe. But there you go. So go and get this thing and watch it. And then when you're done watching it, come to Behind the Bunker on Monday night. We're gonna have Simon Stevens. We may grab a couple other people. Not sure yet, but we're gonna basically go through the documentary and kind of. I'm sure there's gonna be some interesting tidbits that maybe Joe and you guys all didn't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, being Pax, did you guys get an interview with John for this, or is that for part 2, like us?
John and I talked a little bit. I think it was at Rick's old field, OXCC, and I think it was during Super Game when I chatted with him. But yeah, did you ever sit down with Amadea? I don't think he has yet. No. Yeah.
Amadea.
I gave him a magazine, and I sent him some pictures. But
you did your part. You did more than I did.
Yeah. I heard he was making a movie. I just gave him my manuscript. I didn't really.
Gosh. Between him and Josh Silverman, though, they're both walking paintball.
Speaking of dreamy, though, Josh Silverman, he's like an Instagram model for me. He's just the most handsome fellow.
So handsome. I agree.
So funny.
I like Mr. Silverman.
He got that new mag. He loves shooting it. It's so funny.
Oh God, Ron Stern paintball camps. Oh, yeah. Before all the other ones now that even like you see BKI, we were the Ron Stern paintball camps, and then it was John or
Rocky,
Joshua, Rocky, and then John Call from Brimstone Smoke, and Josh. Poor Josh. He could tell you some stories. But good times.
Yeah, Josh is kind of like you be in a way that every time Joe and I go to an event, we see him. That is to say, we saw him because like he'd be like, "Hey, how you doing? I gotta go. I gotta do this," and then we never really have a chance to actually say anything to him or talk to him. So
I know. Aw.
Yeah.
Oh, we're all busy.
Someone needs to tag him so that he hears his name, and then he feels special.
Yeah, he does. He loves it.
Yeah, I'm sure he's longing for a shout out from behind the bunker right now.
Someone has tagged him.
Day. Are you kidding, Gavin?
Josh Subizabrickus here. We haven't really brought it up, and I know he was kind of hoping to hear about it, but he's more of a hyperball kind of guy. Yep. Instead of all this sup air.
You guys and your inflatable thingies and
I love
fans and leaf blowers and
who needs them?
Yeah, do you prefer the inflatables or do you want the hyperball instead?
It's funny. I think for fields, I think hyperball is actually better.
Yes.
Just for
maintenance.
Let him speak. He's not done.
Longevity.
I mean, thing lasts forever.
Sound. The way it sounds.
Yeah, the sound.
So awesome.
It's paintball.
I've built tons of them. I think they're real easy to put together and do. And
longevity is important. Same with the sounds that are being made are important. I get it.
Yep. You look at the very first snake field that was made up in Chicago at Renix Field. We just changed it back to the diamond and then added some stuff to it, and it was so much fun. It was probably the funnest time I had in paintball in like 5 years. We played that field, and same thing. Bruno went through the middle. I'm coming down this other side, and it was just like, wow, here we go. This is a lot of fun again,
Yeah.
So I like any field where, you're not like, well, yeah, I'm going to take 5 steps here, shoot here, run, dive into this next spot, and then do it, and then and then the game's over. It's like. No, it's anything can happen at any time. That's why I like 10-man. Every single game we played was different every single time. It was never a game where it's like, this is exactly how the plan works out.
10-man to me is always, it's either things are so hectic and then all of a sudden something happens either for the good, like you see your guys running up the field and you're like, oh, something's happening, or you just get run over.
I like the one where you see your guys run and then you see the flags go and then it comes back the other way and you're like, oh, wow, we really got to buckle down now. Things went bad.
Yeah. But getting back to the hyperball tubes, I like them. I just don't like how, I don't like the ribs where people can stick their guns through, and how, it's just, unless you're getting properly reffed with all that paint spatter coming at you, it's really frustrating because you hit the target, you see paint fly. And as a player, you're thinking, I'm hitting that guy. And yet he's covered in splatter, but it's questionable. That's questionable.
I think you just keep shooting until the ref pulls them out.
Well, it's like twigs.
Keep pumping that hole until either the guy gives up or the ref's like, all right, you got to come out.
Yeah. But it's like playing in the bush. You're trying to hit a guy and all the twigs are breaking, the ball's in front of him, and he's standing there like with a God mode on. It's like, this is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those refs suck. He was hit.
But see, so we've talked about sup air, we've talked about hyperball, but Matt, he's a try, tested, and true skid field guy. He thinks that all fields should still be skids and tires.
The more nails sticking out, the better.
Rusted nails, yeah.
Yeah, I love my tetanus. I got a question for both Mike and B. For those who are uneducated, can you give me a quick rundown of what teams you have played for?
You go first.
I like how you said if for anyone that's uneducated, can you tell me?
I'm one of those people.
Okay.
I admit.
Okay, that's good.
I actually started on Team America back in the day. Just a team we threw together, had a good time. Some guys. It was funny. I was still young. I couldn't even drive to the field yet. And I remember they asked me. They're like, you want to play with us? And I was like, yeah, but I got to ask my mom first. And they looked at me because I still had a beard when I was, and they were like, oh man, what's wrong with this guy? Something's, they thought I was 25.
You gotta ask your mom.
Yeah, you gotta ask my mom. But so I started playing with them, played on a whole bunch of little teams through, coming up through, and then got on Bushwhackers, played on Bushwhackers for a long time. Aftershock, then went to LTZ, then Ironman. So,
wow,
you played LTZ?
I coached LTZ forever, and then the 1 year I played with them, and then I went to the Ironman after that.
I got an LTZ jersey kicking around here somewhere. But...
Yeah. I had a lot of fun on that team. We had a good time.
Yeah. And how long were you with the Bushwhackers?
I was with the Bushwhackers for, at least 5 years, something like that, 6 years.
So can you concede to agree that Ron Kilborn has to be one of the cheapest people in the world? I heard stories of him going to paintball events and traveling to Europe with a loaf of bread and a jar of peanut butter, and he would just eat everyone else's meals.
So he is let's see. Yeah, he is the cheapest thing on stuff that he feels not important, and then things that he's like, we need that, he'll go buy it. It doesn't matter how much it is. I'm like, that makes no sense. Like, but yeah, he was. He's funny. I mean, I remember as a kid, because when we first got on his team too, same thing. It was like, we'd be rummaging through his. He had a huge camper that all the paintball products were in there, and we'd be all sneaking in there grabbing stuff, and then like, put it on our account. He's like, what do you have? Or just running out of the thing,
Yeah.
So I mean, it was funny, like stuff like that. He would be like, well, whatever you need, you can get, and he would run accounts and run a tab. We had no money back then, and he would he's like, and then he would just try to get because at that time I think we had 3 teams, and he would just. Yeah, I don't know how we even got teams to the events, but we did.
Well, I remember going down. We trained with him we'd go down and train with him all the time, and we'd stay over with him. And I ride from the airport, go to his place, and he had this big Zap trailer backed up at his house, and it's full of paint. He'd be like, hey, help me. I got a couple cases to unload. It's like 3 skids later, we've emptied out his truck. And then we go to the Hollywood Sports Park to go practice the next day, and he's got cases of eggs, the Evolution loaders, and carnivores. And he's just, some kid would come up and he'd be like, hey, you need a loader. And he'd go into the trailer, come out, and the kid's got 2 eggs he's leaving with, and Ron's got a little smile on his face. It's like, his side hustle was strong with that one.
Oh,
so good.
Man, he used to, it was, it was good. But I mean, that's how he afforded all the teams to go to the events. It was just,
And so many good paintball players came through his program. I mean, and then Huntington Beach, right? The event that took place on sand. He had a part in making that happen because he used to work for the city of Huntington Beach.
We actually made that go through. I mean, there were so many things that they were just not even ready for, and it was funny because like the commissioner guy was down there, and we're showing him how the guns work, and Ron's like, turn your gun way down, so we turn the guns way down, and then we're shooting the bunker, and it's like flying like blah 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 blah, and he's like, oh, that's not that bad, and he's like, well, how many paintballs do you guys shoot in a game? And we're like, and Ron's like, oh, a couple hundred, and he's like, okay, that's not that bad. And then, I'm like, oh my gosh.
That's funny.
Thank you, Rod Colborn.
Hey, Senior Muncaster in the live chat wants to know, he says, so many pros went through Ron's camp. He was a creator.
Let's talk about that.
He
Brandon
was.
Lambertson,
he was.
Right?
Yeah, although there was a ton of pros.
Rodney Squires.
BC. There
John
was a ton. I can't remember. John Richardson. There was so many that actually went through it. So you can't even. I mean, everybody's probably played on it at one time. Yeah. So.
And I was the first female. Thank you very much.
What are the other teams?
Yeah. Finish Matt's question. B, you've been avoiding it.
Yeah, so I started out to play paintball back because of Tammy Pickering originally. And so I played on Femme Fatale. And then once I moved to California, because I had that California paintball dream, because back in 2000, that's where paintball was at, right? So my father drove with me for about 38 hours across the country and started working for JTUSA, thanks to Rodney Squires, who interviewed me, and to Chuck Hench. That's a name that, you guys also know, I'm sure. And worked for them for a good year. And then Ron Kilborn actually took me under his wing, thanks to Paxson, because I would drive to LA from San Diego to go practice there on Wednesday nights.
Impact at the
Impact Zone.
Impact Zone is indoor Wednesday.
Yep, over the weekend. And that's how Mike and I met, is because Michael was very good at explaining how to play paintball better. And so we pretended that we were just friends. Then we ended up like dating and then getting married, and now we have 2 beautiful children because of paintball. Yes, honey. Okay. But yeah, so then after I played with the Bushwhackers, I started Destiny. And again, thanks to Ron, because he didn't play me enough. Thank you very much, Ron. I was good, and I had a big mouth. But I
had a dream.
I had a dream. But it was just, it was meant to be for us to form Destiny back in 2004. It was great motivation for me to kind of prove myself that we could pull it off. And now Destiny, how many years are we after? 16 years later, we still exist, and we have over 100 paintball players playing for Destiny.
Yeah, you've got like a small village, right? And you were like
the town of Destiny,
players.
Montana.
But it's
Montana.
You call it a cult?
It's a cult.
Do you practice at the Jonestown?
It is.
Yeah, they all drink Kool-Aid, right?
They live in a beehive.
Yeah, they live in a beehive.
Well, it was so funny too, because like one of the 10-mans we went to, I was helping them out, kind of like, hey, I think we're kind of doing this, but da. They came up and they're like, oh man, thank you so much, we had such a great time. I'm like, oh cool, how many games do you guys win? They're like, none. And I'm like, okay, well that's cool, and they're like, no, we had the best time, we got to hang out with you and we got to meet everybody. And I'm like, okay.
And even Tom Cole that you just had last week, right? He commended the Destiny team that was there, and he even said to them, like, I wish more teams were like you guys. They lost every single freaking game.
That's the thing. Not everybody can win, right? Like 99% of the teams can't win. You gotta like, we got a lot of local teams that go down to World Cup, for an example. And it's like, guys, they keep saying, hashtag win World Cup. It's like, okay, well, that's a great mantra, but you guys go down for the sake of going down and having fun. Like, don't put so much pressure on yourself. Like, you're going to the premier event of the year where everyone's been practicing all season. Everyone's at the top of their game, and you're going down as a one-off. Just go down and have fun. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And they look at you like, no, we're going to win it, man. Like, we practiced 2 weekends in a row. We know the layout down cold. We're coming in hot.
But
and you feel bad.
They were so happy to get shot by the pro. You know what I mean? And even back in the NPPL days when you had that one pro team draw and you're like, oh my gosh, I get to play against Dynasty, and here we are like total rookies and we get to play against them, right? But that kind of is the same way with what the ICPL is doing, where you can go and play against pros that you salivated over, when you were starting your paintball career. Yeah. And that's the glory of ICPL.
Well, and I like how the Mexican League's doing it down there too, is because they're doing where you're allowed 2 pros on a roster. And I had a guy the last time I went down there say the same thing. He's just like, I've always wanted to play against you. And I'm like, oh, cool. Hey, I don't know what's your name. We had a drink and talked and did something. We had my buddy translating at the same time, but we had a great time and it was awesome. But it's it is that thing of just the different ways of how
it's hard to play the Mexican League with having those wrestling masks under your helmets. It's not. Find your goggles fog up quite a bit.
Yeah, and it's hot, sticky.
Yeah,
tacos for everybody. So,
Hey, did you guys play at Hollywood Sports Park a lot or practice there a lot? Okay, what's the name of the taco place across the street?
what is the name?
There was like a little hole in the wall.
Hole in the wall. Yeah.
Oh
my gosh! Ron, you would know right off the word. Yeah. I know. I can picture it in my head. I just can't.
I swear he got a kickback from every taco that was sold because that's kind of what.
It was like L. Gosh, what was that? I should text Bear and find out. He was.
Yeah. Lupe in the live chat says best part of World Cup is going and being part of the Destiny family. That's got to be good going down with such. I mean, you guys, if it's not a Destiny team, like you're 50% of the teams down there. I mean, at least you're down there and you've got a support system. So when one team's on, there's probably people that are able to help pit, coach, that sort of thing.
The beauty of what a World Cup this last is that people that didn't know each other, if they saw one another in their Destiny jerseys, it was easier to approach each other. And so it was really nice to hear some of those stories about how they just felt like there was that connection. Yeah. And so I'm very thankful for that. I mean, Destiny wouldn't be what it is today if it wasn't for the players that give it strength.
So tell us about the secret Destiny handshake. Or is there like a gang sign or something?
No, we don't have that yet. But, and it says a lot because for a long time, Michael wouldn't have anything to do with, much of what I was trying to build because I would get the shirt off my back, what I'm saying?
Because I coached him from the beginning, and then I ran the team in the beginning, and the team was always in the positive. And then as soon as B started running the team, we've always been in the negative.
Yeah. We're not a charity. I wish I was a 501c3.
So speaking about your village, B, you know what? We're in a little bit of a pause right now with our paintball world and the world in general. How are you building how are you keeping your community together? So what sort of initiatives are you doing, or are people just waiting on standby to get back out?
Well, much of the teams are on standby. It is very dependent on what's going to take place next. But I have to give a shout out to people like, Jessica with Destiny Hawaii and Shane Bonnell with Destiny Army. Even Destiny Kansas, we just have a few guys playing for them, but they're ready to order more gear because they're hopeful that they'll be able to play the next NXL event, in their new 2020 Destiny jerseys, that represent their Destiny Kansas. And so because of that and their motivation, I mean, that pretty much is what makes Destiny successful. It has, and some people would say, well, it's you and Mike, and that's very flattering. And we appreciate that. We appreciate that recognition. But it is because of that connection that people are having because they're on the different Destiny teams. Yep. And so we definitely want to recognize that. So that's what it is.
But it's an easy, so not really a sale, but it's an easy convince somebody to join a Destiny team just with the infrastructure you have. I mean, most parents want to know that when their son or daughter are playing paintball, that they're not just going there, spending some money and leaving. They're having an experience. They're having some help. There's some coaching. There's some assistance. And I think just with a little bit of coordination, that's going to make them happy. So I mean, it would be an easy sell to get on a camp like yours.
Part of the reason is because, Mike or myself will always have a friend that we've met somewhere in the world that say, hey, do you have a team that's going to such and such event? And so that's kind of what has catapulted this into the forefront, because we're trying to bring people together to get the experience to play a national event like an NXL. But we're taking that a step further. Like even with Chris Rangel, who's with Under Industries, he's doing Bunker Fest. And that's a very historical event that Animal Customs, kind of helped in presenting that event. But Mondo, exactly. And so, we want to try to bring these people together and then say, hey, we should try to give Bunker Fest a shot and see what that event is like. Or maybe we should go to Panama City together. And the people that are within that network, and you feel like, you're not going to go there blindly, not knowing what to expect. You've got somebody or 2 or 3 people that are going to know what it takes to kind of be successful at whatever destination you choose.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you guys see arguably paintball's greatest mag-fed sniper currently said, I started with speedball but had a bad knee injury and ended my speedball career slowed down my pace, and I picked up the mag-fed sniper. Who could that be?
Mag-fed sniper?
Who would that be? Who started with speedball Could that be
Billy Wing?
Hedgehog? Could it be yes, Billy Wing? The answer to everything is Billy Wing. or the Iron Man. No, it is the Hidden Hedgehog.
Yeah.
I like the Hidden Hedgehog. It's nice to see he's tuning in. It's like 4 a.m. right now for him.
Wow.
Maybe not 4 a.m, but it's late.
Yeah, but nobody has anything to do the next day, right?
Exactly.
He's probably watching Netflix.
Easter.
So what's Billy Wing doing these days? Is he still part of the team as far as a coaching staff? Is he pod running?
No, I know he helps out a little bit, just doing stuff. He's still doing checking guns and doing all that kind of stuff down in Florida. Just bought a brand new house, looks beautiful.
He's adulting.
Yeah.
Adultering?
Adulting.
And it's funny.
You heard that here, ladies and gentlemen.
I tried to get him to go out and play 10 minutes. He's like, nah, I don't want to go out. I'm like, all right. We was right. I mean, both Florida events were right in his backyard, and he still didn't want to go play. So it was funny.
Yeah.
I know.
But there was, there's been a whole lot of pro paintball players getting to that age where they're kind of, slowly retiring, and we're starting to see some new guys coming in. But there's been a solid 5 to 10 years of real good, professional paintball players, in their prime. And now that they're slowly starting to retire, and I'm not going to throw Ryan Greenspan under the bus, but he's getting to be a slightly older player too. He's going to start to, some of the other guys that grew up with him. Mm-hmm. There's these 18 and 22-year-old, age group of kids that are starting to come up. They're fast. They're they're unbreakable. They're little machines. It's you're starting to see a lot of them infiltrate into the league. It's gonna be interesting over the next couple of years. You're gonna see a lot of. Look at Harrison Fry. You didn't hear his name 2 years ago, right? Yep. All these guys that are coming in. It's nice to have a breath of fresh air with these new guys coming in, and everything's kind of thrown up. Dynasty was the winningest team forever, but we haven't really seen them on the board in the last little while, and it's kind of a change of the throne. I mean, look at Edmonton Impact. They were at the top of their game for 2 years.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting too, because they're trying to come up with a thing where in the league they were talking about where, players are worth so many points. So if you're a higher end player, you can't have so many high-end players. You have to bring in some lower-end players like they do on other sports where, you're only allowed so many points on your team.
Okay.
And
so it's kind of like trafficking.
Well, yeah, and then so a team, like let's say I hit the lottery tomorrow, I didn't just go buy all the pro players, and then I have the next best team for, 5 years, and as soon as the person's no good, I just toss rid of them and do another one,
Yeah.
So that's a way they're trying to do it to where they're building players up. I don't know how well it would work, but.
So is that why you've retired for a couple of years, because you want to drop your point seat down and then jump in at the last minute?
No, honestly, I'll tell you exactly why I quit. I shot 10 pods through a gap. No one ever went through it, and we lost the game. I was like, oh, that's not a big deal. Shot 10 pods through a thing. I said, and they're like, oh, yeah, they blew the horn. We lose. I'm like, well, I'm the last guy alive again? I'm like, what? Looking around like, I go, wow, the sport has really gotten really slow and really gay. And I'm like, I'm done. So, and I'm out.
But what do you...
It literally was that.
So you're out, but you're still playing some mechanical events. So there's something that still pulls you back in.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Just playing pro paintball.
Yeah.
Pro at the level where I'm like, I really am trying to compete as, at that top level of what you want to do and throw your whole life away towards that. That's what I'm saying. But I had more fun going out with Shane Pastana, Danny Love, all the 10-man guys. And we went, played games, messed around, laughed about it, drank afterwards. And, the funny thing about that was we don't even talk to each other anymore as pros. Like, you see each other between a game. You see each other when you're sitting outside, but you're not really oh my gosh, sitting there talking. You talk to your friends but everybody. But when we're walking the fields for 10-man, when we're walking just in between games, we're all just, talking and laughing about old times. It's so much more fun to me,
Well, okay, so a laid-back event just like that. What is your dream team? You're putting it together, Pax. Who's your team?
Oh man,
Okay, first of all, don't bring me up. That's fine.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah, don't bring me up either.
Yes,
I have so many people. I love, just even people I just love playing with, like Rocky Cagoni. There's just so many different people I could play with and just have fun. It really doesn't matter. I enjoy playing with everybody. I love playing with Danny Love. I love playing with a lot of people.
Okay, enough.
Yeah.
What is your roster? Damn it! Just spit it out.
Oh, I don't know. I don't.
Are you running for office?
There's just so many players. It doesn't even matter.
Would you like to thank the Academy?
I like to thank the Academy. It was Brandon. It was Brandon Lambertson and JP. When we were playing the mechanical last time, we were laughing and having the best time too. I would put both them on my team in a heartbeat too. Miko Hooten and Todd Adamson. I would put all of them on there.
Okay.
Yeah. I would put Greenspan on. He's an awesome paintball player.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry, I'm trying to read the chat, you guys. There's tons of you guys in the chat that are that are going with comments here. A lot of you guys are talking about Masters Division. There needs to be an over 40s Masters Division. I think that's a whole other. That's a scary division because you get these guys that have played paintball for a number of years. They're good. They may not be mechanically as fit as the 18 to 22-year-olds, but they're dirty. They know the sport, and they're super competitive. You could probably hear them from across the field grunting and groaning, but they would be a good adversary. I think that would be a super competitive league.
Well, I know that Rusty was talking about putting one in for next year, and he was all jazzed about it because Cuba just turned 40. I was trying to get there was a few people that we've played with for years that it's just like everybody's turning 40. JR, all these, see, and it's like, so we were talking about it. So he really wants to put in a heavy hitter, next year and see what we can do. So
yeah,
that would be great to watch.
Yeah, it would be great. I kind of where you are, Mike, where I was playing. We had a great team, guys that we'd grown up with for a long time, had played for a long time, and then they slowly retired. And I looked around my camp and was like, I like these guys, but I don't have much in common with them. Like, I miss my old team. And going to practice became more work than it was what it used to be. And that was work disguised, but also having fun. Like, I enjoyed the company of these guys. And then I tried 2 or 3 different teams after that. And it was like, I still like the sport. Do you know what I mean? It becomes like a job. And yeah. But I think going back with some of these guys that I used to play with or that you used to play with would be fun. You also should be forgetting about the smell of Ben Gay on the field. And this league should also... And then according to George, he says should be sponsored by AARP.
Why not? It's okay. Yeah. That's the beauty of paintball, right?
I like the idea of a 10-man field and everybody plays back.
Yeah.
10-man game.
Or all the bunkers are towers.
I'm going to get Simon from Inception's design to put a gun mount on a walker.
Yes. There we go.
Exactly. Do it.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Oh, boy. B, we didn't need you tonight. We had a fun time chatting with Mike. We didn't like...
We are one in the spirits. I'm just glad that Mike came on, and he's always so busy and he's staying very active. He's a fishing guide here in Montana, so if you guys want to come fishing.
You know what it is? Josh and Matt have the allure of the beard, and it's just, it's just, for those that have them, it's just... Yeah, it's part of the club.
I just shaved it off. He
did.
So here's a question.
2 days later.
So B, you auctioned off a guided tour with your husband to go fishing at Extravaganza.
Oh my God! I can't believe he did not know this. Okay? I just told him, way to blow it, Gavin.
I wanted to follow up to see how that went. Clearly,
which one on the screen won? I don't know. Who won that?
Can you teach me how to match the hatch?
No, not that
one. No, I believe it was some random dude, but all of a sudden, like, B's like, yeah, my husband will do it. I'm like, ooh, this can't be good.
I know.
So are we fly fishing?
Yeah, well, we can do whatever you want. It don't matter. I mean, I had a guy just recently ask me, he's like, can we go tuna fishing? I'm like, well, not here, but I can set up one down in San Diego. Yeah. We can go. I like tuna fishing.
Yeah. Do you have any mahi where you are?
No, nothing. That's all but we can go to Florida. I know a guy. I know.
So why Montana?
I actually grew up here. I didn't grow up here, but I came up here every summer as a kid, and I loved it. So, it was awesome. My mom lives here, so.
Yeah. And then for like grown up jobs, B, you're selling the real estate?
Yes.
And then Mike, what do you do for?
Fishing guy.
I'm a fishing guy.
That is
okay.
Legit his profession.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, you got to keep it simple.
Good for you. Yeah. Oh, well. Well, you know what? We should probably, we're about 5 minutes overdue of where we should have stopped, but I appreciate you guys being on tonight. Do you guys have any other things we should talk about?
Matt doesn't care anymore.
No kidding, eh?
Hurry up.
Oh, B, did you get him upset? You got him upset at Extravaganza, B.
That was awesome. It was so fun. Well, we love you guys. Thank you for what you guys are doing, too, to kind of help keep paintball alive through the behind the bunker stuff.
Yeah.
What scenario is the next one that they're planning on coming
Super game.
We'd love to, but unfortunately, this COVID nonsense has completely killed everything. Our budgets are gone. Our fields are closed right now, so it's not like we can plan to do anything. Most of us aren't working. Some of us are, but it's so at this point, I know Super Game's already postponed, not canceled, but postponed. So I'd say I'd love to come down, but I don't see it happening this year. Now our season's even shorter, and we have a lot to make up for. So,
in honor of Super Game, I'm eating hazelnut M&Ms.
Oh, good for you! Is that a bulk barn bag?
No, it's a Ziploc. Good for you. You're rationing it.
I just stole it.
Matt goes to concerts just to go to the dressing rooms to steal M&Ms. That's his budget right
now. Good Easter candy.
Yeah, I'd love to go to Super Game. We'd like to go to any games, but until we're back to work, we can't make any promises because we just don't know. We would like to say that we're going to be back at World Cup, most likely. Hopefully NXL will get at least...
Yeah, I've been telling our Destiny teams that I think World Cup is just going to be a nice place to reunite.
I think so.
And just get back into the swing of things and get that fire back.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, we hear. What do you guys hear? We hear here in Montana that it might even be June, August until this is lifted.
Well, snow actually in cold weather kills the virus. So no, I'm just kidding.
No, it doesn't, Todd.
Gavin says no.
we got a full blizzard outside. I don't think it's doing anything.
I know. It literally is snowing right now. How many feet already? It's like 2 feet out there right now. It was just 66 degrees yesterday.
We're probably May 6th for sure, but it'll probably be extended. The school year is likely finished now, so
I don't think our kids are going to go back to school either.
I always said I'd never homeschool my kids, but here we are.
Homeschooling sucks, by the way.
It sure does.
It sucks.
But my daughter's
drunk all the time.
That's right. My daughter's speaker's just hammered every day.
So weird.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys should try the curriculum that I use, and it's YouTube. Just sit them in front of their YouTube and.
Let YouTube teach them. It's fine. It's okay.
Well, we know that people are making millions of dollars on playing video games, so that's all I do. Hey, this is your career path. Just play video games.
God help us all.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Good for you guys for having property. At least your kids can go outside and you're still away from people.
Yeah. Yeah, we're very thankful for that, for sure.
Yeah.
Lucky you. If I venture too far, I end up at Todd's house.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on the show tonight. This was fun.
Thank you too.
And it's always nice to talk to B, but Mike, I think, was the star of the show tonight.
Absolutely, and I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Well, we did have you at Extravaganza.
Yes, you did, and I had a blast with you guys.
Yeah. Very good. And a couple of reminders, guys. So Monday night, we're going to have Command Bros live with us. Next week, on Saturday night, we're going to have John Omoda from Paintball Media. We're going to talk about the upcoming documentary. And when it's released on Monday, we're going to watch it as a show. And then we're going to go live at 8 o'clock with Simon Stevens and kind of have a debrief of of the documentary. Hopefully, we find some information that we just didn't know about. That would be something to chat about. So definitely check that out. We lost Joe there for a second.
Joe, you weren't supposed to leave.
He just said his battery died.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there he is.
There we go. Oh, he moved down in pole position.
Yeah, my phone, my computer wasn't plugged in and it died, so I had to run and plug it in and reboot it.
There we go. All right, well, Matt, thank you for being on the show tonight.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was great. Thank you, Mike.
Here's my tinfoil hat. Keep the CIA out of there.
Thank you,
everybody, for coming on too. Thank you, Toby. We miss you. Line of Fire Paintball, North Carolina.
What should everybody do, B?
What should everybody do?
Should they like? Should they share?
Yeah, like
and share.
There we go.
And share. Like and share.
Very good. And Josh, thank you for being on the program tonight, sir.
Yes, thank you. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And do not forget to help control your local airsoft population. Have your local airsofters spayed or
neutered.
Very good. Gavin Sharma from TerraTech Industries.
Great to be here, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. And the Paxsons, thank you so much for your contribution this evening. Wishing you a happy Easter for you and your family, and stay safe out there in Montana. Protect your Missoula.
Yeah.
Protect the Missoula.
TerraTech, does that exist? And thank you to Joe Kimson from Flaggers Paintball.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in tonight and watching Behind the Bunker. We will see you Monday night. And everyone in Bee's Destiny, stay safe in the hive.
Very good. Thanks, guys, for watching. B, stay tuned for 1 second. We'll see you guys. I guess we'll see you on Monday night. Take care.
Don't be a freeloader. If you liked what you hear, make sure to hit the share button below. Also follow us